Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've seen me before. It's that time of the month where we do monthly empties, and I do have a decent amount, I can't lie, to share with you guys today. So before we get into this, please make sure that you guys like and subscribe to my channel because it really helps me out, and I hope one day I can actually finally get monetized over here because I think that would be really cool. But I do have, like I said, a decent chunk of empties. Some of these I've been working on for a really long time, and one of those is going to be this one that I share with you now. This is a giant, and I mean a literal giant tub of CeraVe. This is a salicylic acid smoothing cream. I had this in my 50 Shades of Black project pan, and I was so close to being done with it, but I just kind of missed the mark. And literally right at this, like, I think a week after I did that update, and literally right at the start of May, I finished this, and I'm really glad I did because this honestly takes up a giant amount of space. And this was also kind of old because I think I've had it since, I want to say 2023, but there is also a chance it could have been 2022. There are some items in my collection that were really old, and this unfortunately just was one of them. I don't know why I'm holding the basket for but yeah, it is completely gone, and I'm really happy with that. I did try to clean it out as best I could, but I cannot wait to just literally recycle this because this giant, it is literally giant. But yeah, I'm really happy that this is done. I've had two single-use items. Both of these are sheet masks from Lidl. My mum actually bought these for herself and for my dad to do like a spa date. They never did it at home in the end, and my mum was just like, do you know what, just take it because I don't think I want to use it. And she's occasionally seen me wearing sheet masks whenever like I feel like it, so she gave these to me to use, and I used up this month, one at the start of the month and one right at the end of the month. And these were just okay. Like, I personally wouldn't go out of my way to buy these again, but I do understand that these are a really good, like, cheap alternative for sheet masks, because I know some of the ones in the market are like 10-12 pounds, which I don't understand how they're so expensive. But this was like an okay product. I'm just glad that these are done, and I have two less sheet masks in my collection. The only reason I say that I'm glad that there's two less is because I have this one giant tub of like 30 sheet masks, and great, there's a fly in my room, so please ignore that. But I have that giant tub of like 30 sheet masks, which one day I will get around to doing. I don't know when that day will be, but I'm pretty sure it will take me a good, I want to say 8 months to a year, probably like a year, but we'll see. One of my like go-to die-hard products that I use, and I've used countless of these. If you go through my entire like channel, you'll be able to see constantly like these products were part of my empties, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like this product. This is the Trichology Rebalancing Scalp Tonic. This is a Superdrug brand, I believe, and if you have like any sort of scalp issues, this, I feel like, it's a really good option to use. I had a lot of like dryness on my scalp, and then I couldn't tell if it was product buildup or if it was psoriasis or seborrheic dermatitis. Turned out it was none of those, and it just ended up being fungi apparently, because it was right at the edge of my like hairline. What I needed to do was just make sure that I dry my hair completely, or like my scalp completely, before I move on, and stop showering, like going to bed with wet hair. Both those things really worked, but I wouldn't have been able to get to that stage if I hadn't used stuff like this. This was such a godsend, and I only use this where I need to. I do not use it all over my scalp. I feel like it doesn't, I feel like I don't need to do that, so I only ever targeted this in the areas that really had the build up, so I could like aim to clear those up, and this worked really well. For now, I think I'm okay. I've been without this product since about like most of May, and my scalp has been fine, so I think for the time being I could be okay without this. But if I ever do need it again, I'm gonna run out to Superdrug and buy these. These are honestly a 10 out of 10 for me. Use up this star sheet. There's like 4 in here. I use up all 4 of these. This is part of my 50 Shades of Blue project pan. I have like a blue compact with a bunch of these sheets, and I used up one this month, and I'm really happy with that because I've been having a lot of breakouts, and sometimes I do forget to use things like this that I already have, and then I do still end up picking at my breakouts, which is a really bad habit, and I really need to break out of that. So it's been nice to just use up a sheet of these. I have like 2 deodorant type products. So this is this giant thing that my mom got, and then she just turned around and goes, actually I don't really want this, so she gave these to me. And I'm not like the biggest fan of these. I much prefer a roll-on compared to this one, but I have used up the entire thing. No more can literally come out of this because I've tried, and it's just, if you can hear that because I'm wearing AirPods, I don't know, yeah, there's literally nothing coming out of that. So I'm glad that this is done. I don't really aim to buy these, so I don't really think I will buy another one of these. I do have one in my collection currently that I'm using, but these are not my go-to and my go-to are usually a type of roll-on, and for the most part I am okay. I did used to use Mitchell ones, but I stopped a little while ago, just when I realized that there was a lot of people complaining they were getting basically chemical burns and the brand wasn't really doing anything about it. So I kind of just stopped using theirs, because apparently I just think a whole batch of theirs was, there was something wrong with it for so many people to have reacted the way that they did. And yeah, I just didn't bother buying any. But I tend to just use any roll-on and it seems to work fine. I'm currently use this one up. I've got a new one in my drawer at the moment. I don't really have a specific one. I think for the most part I'm okay. But if you guys have like a heavy duty one that isn't a natural deodorant that you guys use over the summer when it gets really hot, please let me know, because in UK we have some serious heat waves going on over the last couple of years, and we literally just came out of one and it wasn't really nice. If you guys have any that you could recommend, please let me know. It would have made sense if I stuck to categories like I normally do, so I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna jump just to body care, and this is one that's in my 50 Shades of Blue project pan. This is the Peter Thomas Roth hydrating body cream, and it was a decent product. I actually did enjoy it, but I think he's a more expensive brand, and I feel like I need to spend that much money on a body lotion, especially because where I'm quite clearly a big person, I have a lot more body surface, so I would go through a product much faster than somebody who's a lot smaller than me, and to me personally that's not worth spending that much money on. So I think this was like an okay product. It was nice, it was hydrating, I got use out of it, and I'm glad I could travel with this. I just wouldn't buy it from the brand again. And I read somewhere along the lines of this person being involved with the Epstein files, so you know what, that's a big enough reason for me to never ever shop from a brand again, because that is disgusting. And I mean, there are so many stronger words that you could use, I just can't think of them right now, but imagine all of those words for that. So yeah, I would never ever buy from this person again. This, I didn't even buy it, I just got it in like a curated beauty box that I don't remember when I've had it since. So yeah, I'm just glad that this is done. I've recently used this up, and this is the Laneige Bouncy and Firm Sleeping Mask. I really don't think these do anything. I feel like they're very gimmicky, and I don't know if that's just maybe like I'm not really noticing any difference with it. But yeah, I cleaned this out and then I wash it out too, so that this could get recycled. The first time I used this, it really burnt my skin for some reason, and I don't know why that happened, because I didn't use anything strong beforehand either. I just did my regular skincare, which is double cleansing, and then using this, and for whatever reason it just burnt my skin. And I've been using it on and off for the last, I want to say 2 months, and I literally knew that I had one use left, and I was like putting out for the longest time. And I tend to only use something like this if I know like my pillowcase is going to go in the wash, or like my bedding is going to get changed. So I did that the other day, and I'm glad that this is finally done, because it was just taking up space. And it's a face mask that I know that I'm not really going to go and buy. The only reason I have it is because it's part of one of the edited boxes that I got from either Boots or Cult Beauty, and I'm glad I got to try it, but it's not something personally that I would go out and buy. For my skin, because I'm oily skinned, I would go for very specific masks, which are either chemical masks or clay kind of masks, just so they can get all of that gunk out of my skin. I wouldn't necessarily go for something like that, because I don't think it does anything for me. So for me personally, it's a waste of money, but I'm just glad that I was able to use that up as well. This is part of my beauty edited, and I'm glad that this is done, but I did have a long-term love-hate relationship with this product. I think my issue was there was a time when I wasn't doing my skincare regularly enough, and you can kind of really tell my under eyes are already really creasy, but I have found that I do have an issue where if I don't use an eye cream, they can become even drier, and so I have to kind of use one. And I don't really think this did anything for my dark circles specifically, but I did find it really nice on my under eyes. I would consider repurchase one again, but I have so many eye creams already as it is that I do not need to go ahead and do that at all anytime soon. So I'm not going to go do that, but I'm glad that this is done, because I have moved on to another eye cream, and I am conscious of the fact that I do have maybe one too many in my collection for someone who doesn't really do the skincare all the time, 2 times a day. So yeah, like I do need to be a little bit better with how much I have. And when I did do a massive purchase, I want to say November, maybe December, I think it was maybe like November of last year, and I ended up with a lot of products. So I'm trying to just make my way through them, and I have so many eye creams for someone who doesn't really need that many. So hopefully I can get some of those used up, but I'm kind of glad that this is done, and I could potentially buy this one again. I love using a leave-in conditioner, and this one I got from like a set that was between Way and ASOS. I think they did like a collab there, and I actually really appreciate that because you get a bunch of like little products to use and decide if you want to splurge on like the full size ones. And there's actually been a few things that I use that I would actually consider buying it. This is one of those. I actually really like this on my hair. I felt like my hair did feel smoother and softer. This also does smell quite nice. I'm glad I got to use up all of what I could. The rest of this does not come out of there, so I can't get any of that out, but I did keep this upside down so I could just pour whatever I could on my hand, and still like whatever's in here doesn't come out, but that's fine. I did get like almost all of it used up, and I know the big size one is quite like a big, I don't know if it's 250 or 150, I don't really remember because it was a long time ago that I was actually shopping around online to see what I could buy. But I do think that this is one that I would actually consider repurchasing, but it's between either this one or the Redken one, but I don't think the Redken one is available in store. So if I was to buy that one, I would have to buy it online, and right now I'm trying not to buy it online and only buy in person, because then I'm only gonna buy the 1 or 2 items that I really need. But yeah, I'm just happy that this is also an empty. I have 2 perfume empties. Both of these are samples. I have been going through all my samples really, and obviously it's a lot faster to use up samples than it is a full size perfume, but I do have some perfumes that will end up in these monthly empties towards the end of the year, which I'm really looking forward to. But for now, you guys are gonna have to just stick with my little samples as empties. So both of these are the Kayali musk scents. So we've got musk santal and then musk latte, and I think I really like the latte one. The santal one was just okay. The latte one kind of reminded me of the pistachio scent, just less sweeter, and I actually really like this one. And I think I had the same thing with the matcha one. I liked that one as well, and that kind of reminded me of the pistachio one from Kayali. So I think this one might be one that potentially could be repurchased, but this one isn't gonna be. Like, it was okay, but I was glad that I got to like just test out little samples, because even though these are like £15 for like 4 of these, I'd rather use up a bunch of samples and then realize that I maybe don't want to buy the full size versions of them, rather than spending £50+ on a full size one and then being like, yeah, I completely hate this. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I got to go through 2 more samples. I don't have many samples left in my collection, which is a good thing, because it does mean my perfume inventory has come down quite quickly, but it does mean that it will then take me a lot longer to get through the actual full-size perfumes. Though there is 1, maybe 2 that could be emptied by the end of the year, but we will see, because I've unfortunately got so many perfumes to go through. But you know what, it's fine. I always save my makeup empties for last, and I do have 4 for this month, and I'm actually really happy with that, because some of these were expected, some obviously weren't. I think it's just something that I forget, that obviously the more you do makeup or the more you regularly use the product, the faster you're going to get through it. So I guess I'm rediscovering that fact this year. The first empty I want to talk about is these lashes. I really liked these. I don't necessarily want to get rid of them, but I have used them over 15 times now, and I think I've got my money's worth out of these. I really like this pair, and if I can find something similar, I will. I did try to see if this is still available, this style or this like number design, but it's not from Eyelaw. I did get this from TK Maxx. I'm assuming that means that these were probably discontinued a long time ago, but I really like the way these looked, and I used to get a lot of compliments whenever I did wear these falsies. I don't wear falsies that often, just because that is something I do struggle with, and to people who can do fake lashes perfectly, that is a skill I'm jealous that you possess. Okay, that's the one thing that I could say, like, I wish I could really do. Okay, but maybe not jealous, it's like a really strong emotion, but I wish I could be that girl. But these lashes were top tier for me. I really enjoyed them. These are so fun, and I'm gonna really miss these. But again, this is what they look like. So if you guys know any brands, more specifically in the UK, that do these lashes, please let me know, because I do love this. But I've had over 15 uses out of these lashes, and they've held up really, really well. I guess if you're gonna, I mean, these only, they don't retail for that expensive anyway. So this retail price was like £6, and I got it for 3. So they're not that expensive for a set of lashes that have lasted me this long. But I'm gonna kind of miss these. For 15 uses, it's actually really good for a pair of lashes. I use up this Beauty Bay eye pencil. This was a really deep brown, and I didn't actually use it up in my brows or my eye waterline. I ended up using this just to bring back my beauty marks or my moles, whichever one you guys sort of prefer using. I get told off for saying either one. People are very strong about how they feel about either calling it beauty marks or like calling it moles. So whichever one you like to use, I would just use that wording, but I used to always used to draw them back on my face because that's a feature of mine that I really like. I used to hate it, but I've actually really grown to love it, and I've ended up using up the entire thing. I mean, there was a lot in here, and I did at the start use it on my waterline, and I didn't really like it. So for months and months and months, I've been not for months, it's been whatever, like a year and a bit and then some, that I've been trying to use up. But I'm really happy that this is finally done, though the end, because this is so old, the end of it did snap. So that's one thing I've noticed with, I don't even know if you can like sort of see that. Is that okay? That's too blurry. But one thing I have noticed with my eye pencils is that because they're so old, they're drying out. So by the time I get right to the bottom and there's like the tiniest bit left, the pencils tend to break. And I think that is a sign that I do not need to buy anything else until I actually go through my entire collection. And the only time I should replace certain colours is if I've used up an entire lot. I think this was my only deep brown that I had. I don't believe I have any more, but I do have a couple of black eye pencils, and I can maybe try and find something else in my collection to use instead, like maybe a lip pencil. Like, I'm sure I can find an alternative for this. Today I just used my regular black pencil and it seems to work fine. But yeah, I really do need to go through my eye pencils and get through as many of them as possible, because it's kind of getting frustrating now. I think this is now the third pencil that's happened to. So yeah, I think that is just the reminder that I need to do not buy any more until I go through my entire stash that I have, because otherwise it's just a waste. I also use up this lip tint. Actually, okay, it's not, well, it says a tint, and it is actually really, really nice, and I used up whatever I could from here. And the rest I just could not bother. And again, I'm not going to dig these out because I have so many lip products that it just does not make sense for me to dig anything out, because that's a bit silly. Obviously, if I had a lot less in my collection, like if I had maybe like 2% of what I own, then yes I would, or like less than 15 of each item, then yeah, I would happily take everything out and then use it up. But one, this is old. Two, I have so many other lip products to get through that I'm not going to bother doing that. But I'm calling it an empty because to me this is an empty. Like, you don't have to dig out product. Obviously you can be that person that does dig it out, because there is actually a lot of product in here, and get your full money's worth. Because I have so many items as is, it just does not make sense for me to do that. But I actually really love this. The formula of this was fantastic. It was really like hydrating and soft on the lips, and I also really love the color of this. I got a lot of use out of this over the last 7 months. I've not done a Colourpop order in what feels like almost 2 years. But I know that throughout 2025 I did not do a single purchase, and almost halfway through 2026, so it could be close to the 2-year mark that I've done a purchase from Colourpop, which is crazy for me because every year I'd always do at least one purchase. But this is really nice if I ever do go on that website to buy anything again, because there will be a time when my no buy is over and I will buy certain items that I really want. Then I will probably pick this up if this is still available. But this is a really, really good product, and I really hope they do not discontinue it because it's actually amazing. And lastly, I want to talk about my biggest achievement, but I guess I kind of need to give a explanation about this product. So this product, just keep in mind, had a lot of white base to it, and it just meant that for me it wasn't the perfect shade because it was a little bit too light. So I would have to pack this on a lot more than I would do a regular blush. So that's why I've been able to get through this a lot faster than I would do with other products. But I have managed to finish it because of that reason, and I really want to show you guys this. This is what my blush looks like now. It's gone. It's completely gone. Again, it did not take me that many months to use. I started this, it's taken me about 4.5 months, I want to say, of roughly regular use. And it's funny and empty, but the main reason was because it's had so much white base in it that the actual color payoff wasn't that great for my skin tone, and I needed something that's obviously got a little bit more color base to it rather than just white base to it. And then I did repress it, and it was just something that I was flying through. I honestly could not tell you how much I had to pack on for it to even show, and then sometimes even then it didn't show. So this wasn't a product, this isn't really a product I'm going to go back out and buy. If I was to ever buy anything from them, I'd be very careful with what I do. But I am a sucker for cute packaging, and I got caught out, I want to say 2023, when I did like a massive purchase from Flower Nose, and I think I did 2 that year, I want to say, but they were massive. And this is just one of the blushes that came. There are so many other blushes from Flower Nose that I know I'm gonna have the same problem with, so I think what I will do is focus on one long-term blush and then focus on one of these so that I can still get through my blush collection. There is never going to be a day in my life that I'm living in this life that I will go through my entire blush collection, because I have way too many blushes. but if I can use up a few of them, I think that'd be kind of nice, or at least hit pan some of them. I think that's an achievement in itself as well. But yeah, the only reason I've been able to pan this so quickly is purely for the fact that this was so pale on me, that to get the colour payoff that I wanted, and I'm somebody that heavily blushes, but even then, like, to get some level of like decent blush coverage on my face, that it didn't look weird on me, I had to pack on so much. So I'm really happy that this is done. It just means I have one less blush in my collection, which is amazing. But yeah, I just personally wouldn't go back out and buy these again. I really wish I had just bought like a small chunk of items and just use them up first before buying everything else. But there was like a really massive sale, and that was my issue back then. I used to get caught out on all these sales. But I'm just happy I'm like learning and unlearning a lot of things this year. But yeah, no, the only reason I was able to get through this so fast is because of that particular thing. But regardless, I'm happy that that is done. But that is everything for this month's empties. Hopefully for June I have a few more, because I feel like some of these were like bigger and bulkier items that I've used up, but I feel like I could have done better, because there was actually quite a few days in May that I was slacking, and I also haven't done that much makeup in May that I have done previously. So yeah, I kind of need to pick back up with doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can have some more things to show you guys next month. That was everything for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.